Hey guys, want to show your support to the channel and get some awesome rewards at the same time? Then go check out my Patreon page where at whatever tier you choose that fits your budget, you'll get plenty of rewards such as updates and announcements on the regular, exclusive sneak peeks of my videos before they go up online, get yourself credited, and receive a special shout out at the end of my videos and more. Go to patreon.com/AckleyAttack44227TV to start pledging today. And don't forget to also check out and consider gifting me any items I have listed on my Amazon wishlist and even supporting me on my Streamlabs tipping page that'll also help support the channel directly. Links are in the description box below as well as on my link tree for you to check out. Thank you and enjoy today's video. Take care. Hey guys, like what we do on our channel and want to see more videos from us? Then not to worry about a thing. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as turning on the notification bell so that way you can see more of our videos coming up very soon. Thank you and enjoy today's video. Hey folks, I'm officially coming back to Syracuse Collectors Con this year, taking place once again at the Center of Progress building at the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse, New York from March 28th through the 29th. I'm gonna be there all weekend as a regular attendee, and I'm gonna be cosplaying as my gender-bent version of Sailor Moon on Saturday and Ash Ketchum from Pokemon on Sunday. More information and details can be found at SyracuseCollectorsCon.com for you to check out, and if you see me there all weekend, then by all means, come on up to me and say hi. Hope to see you there. Hey guys, this is AckleyAttack4427 here, and welcome to another episode of WTPU, aka What the Pickup? Now, as you may recall, in the last episode of the show, which you can see right down over here, I talked about the breakdown crane that is, of course, released by Hornby when they used to do the Thomas and Friends range that was definitely released all the way back in 2005 for sure, to which, yeah, I really do think it turned out to be such a really great model that I actually got for sure. It really turned out great when I ordered it off of eBay some time ago, and yeah, the end result came out to be absolutely fantastic all the way. I really do think this is probably one of the best, probably the best models that I've seen when Hornby used to do the Thomas and Friends range back in the day, and yeah, I really do think it was actually well worth it on my part, so yeah. So I guess for what it is, I really do enjoy it with what's been given to me hands down, and yeah, I say it was actually well worth it on my part, and yeah, now I know pretty much I'll put it to good use for when pretty much my models get into any sort of accident for sure, so yeah. Which I actually did show off pretty well in that showcase video that I did some time ago, to which you can kind of get the idea from what I can gather, so yeah. But either way, still a really great model nonetheless, and I'm really glad that I actually got it for sure, so yeah. That's definitely another one of those Hornby Thomas models that I could cross off my list for sure. And there's plenty more where that came from, so yeah, but I'm getting way too ahead of myself. So anyways, if you want to check that episode out for yourself, then don't worry about a thing. There's a card over there over at the top right corner of the screen, as well as, of course, the link to it down the description box below, so yeah, whichever you prefer, go right ahead. I'll wait till you come back. Yeah, take all the time you need. I'll be here by the time you come back for sure, to which, yeah, I guess it's after getting that. I'll be really excited to see what other Hornby Thomas models I can actually afford to get my hands on for sure. I know there's a lot out there for sure, but I'll keep my hopes up for when any listings for that comes up for when I'll pick it up for sure. So yeah. Unless I get some help from any Thomas YouTubers or any of my friends, of course, on that front for sure, that would be really greatly appreciated, hands down. And yeah, and I guess while we're waiting, hands down, I think I might as well ask, how are you guys liking the new Thomas and Friends game, Wonders of Sodor? Oh, really? Is it really that good? Huh. Yeah, I guess it was actually well worth it. Now I cannot wait to actually play the game for get my hands on it. I mean, I do know it's currently available for PC, Xbox, and PlayStation systems as of now for sure. But I don't know what's taking so long for a Nintendo Switch release. I mean, come on, Dovetail Games. I'm literally begging for you to release the game onto the Nintendo Switch. And I do wish I would actually have all of my equipment and stuff for me to do live streaming on Twitch for sure, so you can actually see me playing the game hands down. But hey, I'm sure that time will come later on down the road, so yeah. Alright, I guess seeing how you did already see the last episode of this show, we might as well go ahead and start off this episode as we normally do. Well, I guess ever since I actually did talk about pretty much the Hornby Thomas and Friends version of the Breakdown Crane in the last episode, yeah, it looks like for today's episode, I guess it looks like we're sticking with Hornby for a little while longer for sure, because yeah. I gotta tell you, it looks like we've got ourselves a new model that we actually got in our hands very recently that, boy, oh boy, I'm excited to talk about for sure. And surprisingly enough, yeah, I think given to all that, yes, folks, we're definitely gonna talk about the Hornby Thomas and Friends Breakdown Crane once again. But there's a catch. And what might that be, you may ask? Well, I'll reveal it right now, so yeah, what I got right here is, of course, pretty much the Breakdown Crane that was released pretty much for the Hornby Thomas and Friends range, as I've actually mentioned, but the only difference is that, unlike the previous one that I've talked about that's released back in 2005, this one that I got right here is released in 2011, so yeah. You heard right there, folks. Looks like I finally got another Breakdown Crane for sure, but this one is, of course, released back in 2011 for sure. Yeah, just fully updated with a brand new model and everything, and boy, I'm really excited to actually talk about this one. And yes, by the way, I did get this straight off of eBay not too long ago, and it just arrived by the time I'm recording this video, so yeah. I already had a lot of fun talking about the previous version of the Breakdown Crane, so I think it makes sense to talk about it for this one for sure, so yeah. At least that's what I can say, of course, that front. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about this one. Alright guys, it looks like we got the Hornby Thomas Breakdown Crane right in front of us for sure, and yeah, I guess it makes sense to really pretty much talk about this one for sure, because yeah, I gotta tell you, this one really interests me a whole lot from what I can gather for sure, and yeah, and I know that's saying a whole lot compared to, of course, the last pretty much Breakdown Crane that I talked about in the previous episode, but trust me, I do have a good reason to actually talk about this one for sure, so yeah. So I guess pretty much, obviously enough, pretty much give it to what we're actually seeing right here. This one, unlike the previous one we've actually talked about in the last episode, this is actually much more of an updated version of course, the breakdown crane for sure. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it is the exact same concept as, of course, what we saw in the previous episode for sure, but unlike pretty much the last version that we got that was released back in 2005, this one actually uses a completely different model, pretty much that Hornby uses for most of their other ranges for sure, so yeah. And to be fair, I really do think it is actually a cool idea, hands down. It's basically keeping the same idea as, of course, what your product is actually giving to us for sure, but actually trying to do something new and creative to it, so that way we won't be stuck with the same thing over and over again for sure. And, well, I think with what I'm seeing with this one, for sure, we can tell pretty much there's this whole flat bag on one side, and of course the crane, pretty much, and everything on this for sure. And honestly, I really do think this actually looks very creative, I'm not gonna lie, and I really do like the whole concept with what they actually did with, of course, this one for sure. So yeah. So, like I said, this is actually much more of an updated version of course, pretty much the breakdown crane for the Thomas & Friends range that, again, was released back in 2011, and, man, I think give it for the fact that, unlike pretty much the last one we talked about, where it's over 20 years old, yeah, give it to that year alone. Yes, folks, this model that you're seeing right here is just about, as of this year, is exactly 15 years old as we speak. So I think give it to all that for sure. I think we're pretty much quoting Robin Williams from Jumanji. Give it to what I just said. I mean, come on. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are actually knowing the one I'm talking about for sure. No idea? Well, then go watch the movie. Pretty much, yeah, I think it's what I can say on that front. Go ahead, pause the video and watch pretty much the movie, so that way you'll get what I'm saying. You dig it? Great! So, alright, so now that we actually got that out of the way for sure, and well, I think you can kind of get the idea, of course, that front. So I think we might as well go over everything from, of course, the box itself for sure. And, well, surprisingly enough, pretty much much like the model itself for sure. Looks like for 2011 back then, the packaging in the box for, of course, this model is actually nicely updated for sure. Yeah, obviously enough, given to the year of course, when it came out. This was actually during the time of course, the CGI era of course, Thomas for sure. And yeah, honestly, I really do think they really actually did a bang-up job with, of course, what I'm actually seeing for the box for, of course, this one for sure. Yeah, I think it's still giving off the pretty much the main idea of course, Hornby pretty much selling their models for sure. But the box, yeah, but the packaging they actually did for, of course, this one actually reminded me of course, of when Bachmann actually pretty much did the box work and packaging pretty much for their models around the same time for sure. So yeah, that I will have to say is actually really nicely done for sure. And yeah, I think obviously from the front of the box for sure, I can tell pretty much they really went all out. Of course, this one, like of course you got the regular old Thomas & Friends logo, and of course a good old CGI Thomas pretty much on this side for sure, and of course, pretty much of anything, the Hornby logo is, of course, pretty much pasting on top of for sure. However, I really kind of felt pretty much this right here, saying that it's a double O gauge electric locomotive. Well, I think it can work for pretty much the engines for sure, but for, of course, a rolling stock like this one, I think they could have done a whole lot better. So But that's just only one issue that I actually found with it. The rest actually looks great from the front for sure. And of course, pretty much alongside the left side is actually nicely done. And oh yeah, even of course, pretty much this side actually is kind enough to keep the pretty much the barcode and everything. And oh yeah, I shouldn't forget to mention, it looks like pretty much unlike the last one, looks like this version of the breakdown crane is pretty much labeled as R9691. That I will have to say is actually very nicely done for sure. So yeah, and of course the top I will have to say actually is quite nice. And oh yeah, I guess I can definitely see this is a little beaten up from what I can gather, but no harm done. So, and of course, going alongside the back, yes, folks, it looks like it actually is listing off all the other Hornby Thomas and Friends models that you can actually pretty much get pretty much in this, yeah, pretty much according to the back of the box for sure. Now, to be fair, they couldn't list all of them for sure, but I really do think they showed off some pretty much interesting ones for sure. Some of them are actually really good. Some that I actually, oh yeah, I guess it looks like Gordon and James' Express coaches are featured on there, which I'm still glad I got those as expected. So yeah, some of them I've already currently owned as we speak. Well, 4 of them. Some of them actually piqued my interest, while others just are kind of eyebrow raising, like, is anybody gonna really buy the Hornby version of Emily? No? Well, then again, I'm just pretty much overthinking for sure, so we'll definitely wait and see. But still, yeah, regardless from what I can gather, I'm glad they actually really are showcasing some of the other Hornby Thomas models that you can actually get for sure. And who knows, maybe within a matter of time, I might be able to acquire some of them for sure, but we'll definitely have to wait and see. So yeah, so I guess with what I'm actually seeing from the box alone, this actually looks really great from what I can gather. And yeah, I guess pretty much of anything, it really is giving off some really great potential, and of course keeping the same idea as of course what we talked about previously with of course the one back in 2005. And yes, by the way, I am fully aware of course the first one they did back in 1989 for sure, but I'm probably not going to dive into that anytime soon. I'm good with the one from 2005 for sure. So yeah, so it's pretty much keeping up with the same idea as the previous pretty much model that we talked about before for sure. But actually decided to do something new and creative for sure to make it far different from of course the previous one. So yeah, that's why I really do think this actually sells me based on my first impressions alone. But how does it fare up once we get it out of the box? Well, let's go ahead and take it out right now and see for ourselves for sure. So, alright, yeah, that was actually rather easy. So, okay, well, alright, we'll just pretty much get those out rather easily, for sure. So, okay, well, yeah, I think it looks like with what I'm seeing right here, with everything out of the box for sure, I'm not gonna lie, it looks like this version of the breakdown crane really is actually very nicely done for sure. So yeah, I think starting off with, of course, the main crane car itself for sure, this is actually really nicely done from what I can gather. I can tell pretty much from what I'm actually seeing, this is actually a really nice pretty much different take of course this idea for sure. And yeah, I really do like pretty much the model shape they actually did with of course this one for sure. Yeah, really actually showcasing pretty much what it has to do for just being a crane on the rails for sure. And oh yeah, even really do like the way it's actually spinning around for sure. So So yeah, that must have took a lot of hard-working effort to make this look great for sure, and they really did accomplish that quite well from what I'm actually seeing. And also, not to mention, pretty much the paintwork they did with, of course, for it being all brown, for sure, is actually very nicely done, hands down, with, of course, the roof being all white, hands down, and even pretty much everything else from the detailing and stuff, with, of course, these yellow and black stripes from what I can gather, really is actually quite nicely done. And of course, this flat bag, I'm not gonna lie, really is looking great for sure. I can tell with, of course, what I'm actually seeing, it really actually has a lot going for hands down for sure to really match with, of course, the requirement to, of course, the crane that we're actually seeing right here. And what I do find even more fascinating is that it actually has pretty much this nice little, pretty much this thing right here that actually acts as a pretty much a little support beam with, of course, a nice pretty much a rest spot for, of course, the crane arm for sure, which I really do think is actually very nicely done for sure. I mean, yeah, to be fair, I think the previous version of course, the breakdown crane actually does that too, but this is actually requires a bit more effort, I'm not gonna lie, and I really do think it's actually quite nicely done for sure, so yeah. And you might be wondering to yourself, what's up with, of course, these things right here? Well, surprisingly enough, it took me a little bit of time to figure it out for sure, but these are actually used as knobs for, of course, the crane arm, as you can see here. So yeah, and I guess all I need to do pretty much is, of course, attach them as expected, and yeah, there we go. So yeah. So yeah, I think those pretty much two pretty much sticks that you see right here are, of course, served to be knobs for, of course, the crane arm for sure. Like, of course, let me see if I can actually get a good angle to actually demonstrate this. So yeah, I guess with, of course, this one for sure. Yeah, there we go. I think that's actually made to raise the crane arm for sure. And I guess for this one, yeah, I think it's made to actually, somehow dropped from Hornby bottom. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, obviously enough, this one is actually made to actually raise and lower pretty much the hook that you see right here. So yeah, that's actually really quite nice. I'm not gonna lie. So, and if I can get those attached, yeah, I think. And let me see if I can actually get it lowered down just fine, if it'll let me. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, looks like with, of course, what I've actually demonstrated for you, it looks like pretty much this breakdown crane really actually is quite functional for sure, and I can make the argument that pretty much if you didn't actually get the previous version of the breakdown crane because pretty much it's not available during that time, or if you do have it, it might have been a little bit too complicated for sure. I see this is actually much more easier to actually handle for sure, But I digress, hands down. So yeah, with what I'm actually seeing, everything from right here for sure, they really went along with, of course, this version of the breakdown crane for sure. Yeah, it really is actually quite interesting to witness for sure, and I really do think they did a bang-up job in really making this model look great, hands down. But how does it fare up on, of course, my layout, let alone if we actually give it a massive run for sure? Well, let's take it up to my layout and find out for ourselves. Alright guys, it looks like we finally got, yeah, it looks like we finally got the breakdown crane pretty much up on, of course, my layout for sure, to which, yeah, I guess it is quite interesting that we always come back up here for sure. I've actually been making great use of that in my videos recently, so. But yeah, nevertheless, looks like we finally got the breakdown crane up, of course, on my layout for sure. And what better way to actually give pretty much this model a good pull pretty much around my layout? Well, why not other than the engine that I pretty much using, of course, my showcase video from the previous version of the breakdown crane for sure. And that being, of course, good old Rebecca. So yeah. So, of course, unlike the last version where, of course, we had my Bachmann Thomas with speed-activated sound pretty much rung pretty much the previous version of the breakdown crane, looks like for this version, we're actually going to have Rebecca actually pull it this time for sure. So hey, kind of makes sense, of course, on that front. So yeah, I'm quite curious to see how it's going to fare up for sure. I mean, yeah, I think it actually is quite great and actually fits in well, of course, pretty much on my HO track for sure, to which I guess that's kind of the whole point of course, pretty much models being released in 00 gauge for sure. That they actually run well on HO track here in America. And this model is pretty much made in Britain. Kind of my point, if you ask me, so yeah, I'm quite curious to see how it's going to turn out for sure, and, well, I think much like on how we did in the previous version, can this version of the breakdown crane actually manage around pretty much all these curves for sure? Well, there's only one way to find out for sure, and that being, of course, letting Rebecca pretty much giving a nice pull around my layout through this massive test run, so yeah, and of course I did manage to get one of my speed controllers plugged in so that way we can actually pretty much do exactly that for sure. So yeah, I guess with that being said, let's see how we'll do from there. So yeah, with that being said, here we go. Alright, well, yeah, I think we might as well move it over a big, yeah, there we go. So yeah, I guess it looks like it's safe to say it looks like the breakdown crane actually runs pretty well on my layout, and yeah, I guess pretty much my hopes in this going around curves just fine actually is quite nice. I think mainly it's because I might have gotten the crane arm down a much lower position just fine, which actually does work out quite well for sure. So yeah, but needless to say, I think it will get you the idea, of course, what we're actually going to be in for sure. So, but yeah, I think that's what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, overall, the 2011 version of the Hornby Thomas and Friends breakdown crane, I definitely do think is actually a really great model for sure, where, of course, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the 2005 version is definitely really great, and definitely one of the best Hornby Thomas models I've actually got so far for sure. I think I can make the same argument for this one, as I really do think this is on the same level for sure. Yeah, really does deliver quite well with, of course, what it's actually giving to us for sure, but with, of course, a new model and a fresh new coat of paint. No pun intended, so So yeah, I think with, of course, what I'm seeing with the pretty much the way the model looks, to the incredible paint scheme and the detailing, everything, and the way it functions, I really do think it does make it a really fantastic piece of rolling stock that I really do think would definitely come in handy pretty much in times where, of course, my engines are in need of course, pretty much need to get themselves back onto the rails for sure. So yeah, I guess either way, with what I'm actually seeing right here, I really do enjoy this one, hands down, and yeah, I'm really glad that I finally got this off of eBay for sure. It really is actually quite nice, I'm not gonna lie, and I really do think it was well worth the money for sure. So yeah. And I guess it did cost me a whole lot, as of course, pretty much with everything that I've actually purchased for, of course, this one. It actually cost me about nearly 101 pounds, aka just about $141 in the US. So yeah, but of course, for what it is, I'm really glad that I actually got this one for sure. It really is actually quite nice. So yeah. And of course, pretty much of anything, if you are a bit bummed like I am that the Hornby Thomas and Friends range has been discontinued for a long time and this is no longer available, don't worry about a thing. Hornby actually does sell pretty much other breakdown cranes like this, bringing different color schemes and ranges for sure. So I say definitely look those up if you actually got the time. So yeah, but I guess for pretty much for me personally, I'm glad I got this one for sure. It really turned out to be such a great model, I'm not gonna lie, for sure. And yeah, I almost completely forgot to mention one important thing for sure. Yeah, I guess pretty much of anything, this one that I actually got pretty much right here, I did get on its own for sure. But there was another way that you can actually get this version of the breakdown crane for sure. Pretty much if you go all the way back in time to 2011 when this is on sale during Hornby's time with the Thomas and Friends range for sure. Yeah, I guess pretty much of anything, like I said, you can get this one on its own for sure, but another way you can actually get it is through a really interesting Hornby Thomas seg, which is Thomas and the Breakdown Train, which, I'm not gonna lie, is quite nice for sure, and really is actually gonna be quite interesting for sure. And I guess a lot of you guys may be wondering, am I going to cover that pretty much if I actually can pretty much get that set anytime soon? Actually, yes, I am. So yeah, I guess for while I did get pretty much this model on its own for sure, I am going to get another one like this, but from the Hornby Thomas, the Hornby Thomas and the Breakdown Train set that I've also ordered around the same time as this for sure. Probably won't arrive until pretty much later on this month for sure, but I'm excited for that. And in terms of talking about that seg, pretty much set in the next episode, oh, you bet I am for sure. So yeah, that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. So I guess given to that thought alone, I think I might as well end this episode here. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this latest episode, and by all means, let me know down in the comments down below on what you guys think of this one for sure. I'm quite curious to see on what you guys think. So yeah, that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. Thank you guys so much for watching this latest episode, and well, I know we're not done with pretty much Hornby or their discontinued Thomas and Friends range and breakdown trains in general and all of the above for sure. So yeah, we're not done with all those just yet for sure. So yeah, tune in next time where of course we're gonna be diving into the breakdown train or of course the breakdown train for a third time in a row, but in the form of course, pretty much the set that I'm looking forward to getting, which is the Hornby Thomas and the Breakdown Train set for sure. I'm quite curious to see how it's going to go for when that's going to arrive after I order it for sure. So I do hope it'll be worth it for sure. So I guess on that alone, I'll leave you at that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Special thanks to all of my supporters on Patreon for making today's video possible, including my top tier supporters for this month, VD and Sam Shepard. So if you want to be like these guys and show your support to us, then go to patreon.com/AckleyTackTV to pledge now, do so, and get some awesome rewards within your budget. Hey guys, this is AckleyTack4427 here. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Feel free to like, comment, and share if you enjoy what you're seeing. If you like what you see here and want to see more videos coming up, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and switch on the notification bell to get notifications, and select all notifications to be notified for when we post a new video. And don't forget to switch on notifications on your phone as well. Also, don't forget to check out my second channel and our 2-member channel with Sam the Thomas Fan 1, SamAttack4427TheThomasFan1 Productions, for plenty more content you can't find on here. You can check both of our channels out with the links or by our handles provided on screen. Feel free to shoot me an email with my email address provided, backley95@hotmail.com, if you want to ask me a question, want to collab with me for a project you've got in the works, or if you want to book me to be featured for a convention coming up. Follow me on my social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up to date with me on updates, announcements, and new releases of my videos, as well as plenty of others I've got with my handles provided, as well as the links down in the description box below. Also, don't forget to follow me on TikTok for other videos I've got aside from the ones I've posted on YouTube, and on Twitch for any future live streams I've got coming up soon, as well as join our official Discord server to see what we've provided. If you wish to show your support to me, then feel free to check out my Patreon to get sneak peeks of my videos coming up before they go up online, as well as getting access to updates and plenty more, in addition to getting some awesome rewards within your budget. Also, don't forget to check out and show your support to me on my wishlist on Amazon, and even supporting me at streamlabs.com/AckleyTackTV/tip that you can find in the description box below, as well as on my Twitch page. And in case you can't find any of the links that are provided, then not to worry about a thing. All the links and stuff are also provided on my link tree that you can also find in the description box below, as well as a few selected number of my social media pages. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video. Take care.